Thank you, Randy.
Folks, if you're ready, we'll, before we call this meeting to order, like every meeting, we do the Pledge of Allegiance. And so I'll ask you all to stand, if you can. Thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I want to make everyone aware that this meeting is being both videotaped and recorded, as are all meetings, and you'll find those on the POA website if you would like to review them at your leisure. We're a glutton for punishment twice over. We have a full board here. Jack is with us on the phone. The rest of the board members are present. Bessie, do we have a proof of meeting notice?
Yes, sir.
We have approval of the prior minutes. Does anyone have any exclusions or changes or additions tonight? There being none, I make the motion that we approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? So noted, thank you. We have the sheet filled out. Is the sheet complete?
As much as it's going to be.
Okay. Okay, we'll come to that later. Board reports. I don't have a report to make this month. Mike? Dennis?
No.
And Jack?
Yeah.
Very good. Diane?
No.
Jeff?
No.
John? No. Randy, that leads you to, it's not that we haven't been busy, mind you. We just don't have a report.
Why do I have to do one every month and you don't? Yeah, I get it. Yeah. All right, just to give you a brief update on the Spruce Creek Paid Us Homes lawsuit. The deposition did take place on December the 11th of 2018. Our insurance assigned attorney, Doug Nail, reports that he asked a myriad of questions, and when Paid Us Homes time to ask questions, they ended the meeting because they were out of time and they had to go somewhere. So that meeting will be rescheduled and reconvene, and when the deposition is complete, then they'll send us a full report. As you probably have seen, the repaving of Aircraft Parking Victor since our last meeting has been completed. Joe Friend ordered the tie-down brackets, and they have arrived, so trying to work out a time to get those installed the next few weeks. The administration office has been very busy. As you know, we received no paperwork from anyone to run for the board against Jack and Diane, so they will be running again. And please tell all of your friends to vote, because we've got 118 votes so far. We need 320 in the meetings 3 weeks from tonight. I asked a bunch of people this weekend at a little social function out here, and they said that Well, everything's running good, and it's the same people running, so why vote? But we have to have a quorum. So you gotta vote. Please vote. Tell all your friends, and we'll appreciate it. So due to the fact nobody is running against them, we're not having a meet the candidates because we've already met the candidates. The election committee has been working diligently, coming in and checking off what envelopes we've received, not opening the blue ballot envelopes, obviously, but just checking to make sure that the 118 that we have, and do we have voting certificates and proxies and things for them. So, working on that. Residents are coming in at a brisk pace to pay their annual assessment and avoid penalties and interest. As in prior years, the due date was December 31st with the 10-day grace period, which ends January the 10th, which is this Thursday. Anything received in the office after January 10th that does not have a postmark as of the 10th or before will be subject to late fees and interest. And just an update, as of today, the total assessments, if you take the $1,598 times the $1,550, that's $2,476,000. We've collected $2,160,000 through today. So that's 87%. 160. So we've got 204 units roughly that haven't paid, and that puts us about $43,000 behind where we were this time last year. So, but they're coming in. I mean, there's people in here all day today, paying. So it's coming in. We'll be all right. And if they're late, they will have to be subject to the penalty. For those who did not hear the final numbers on the vote to change the PUD, at the 30-day cutoff, there were 945 yes and 53 no. So, and we cut it off at the 30 days, but we're still receiving everyday votes, but we're not counting those. We cut it off at 30 days. On December 4th, Paul, Diane, and I attended the Tailwinds Hangar Association meeting, of which the POA is a member due to our ownership of this hangar. At that meeting, Diane made it clear, as did Paul, the Tailwind Association must actively investigate and act as needed to address the drainage system. It's been an ongoing problem here around these hangars. The admin office was bombarded during April, May, and June of 2018 with complaints of water intrusion by surrounding properties around the Tailwind hangar. So we are on record with that association, and we have the minutes that they have to react. They need to. Finally, the December financial statement isn't out yet because it has to go through an audit. But I just thought I'd give you an update. Through November the 30th, revenues are about $20,000 over budget. About 10,000 of it was the RFID deposits that have been in the books for about 15 years that have never been taken to revenue. So our auditor said, I don't think anybody's going to ask for that money back. And that was for clicker deposits way back when. So we took that. Admin is $43,000 under budget. Most of that's payroll and payroll taxes. Airport right on budget. CERT a little under budget. Children's rec is under budget. Beautification right on budget. Community relations right at budget. Public works, we'll skip. Now she's $15,000 over budget. That's not bad. That's not bad for her. Yeah. We won't talk about the reserve money that she took. But security is under budget, $106,000. That's mostly payroll taxes, fuel savings, repairs. Update magazine, right on budget. So total under budget for those 11 months is about $141,500. And a lot of that's been spent on underground drainage. So I think that's it. Questions?
Anyone here have any questions for Randy?
Not a question, it was just a comment that Randy's been taking it on himself to audit a lot of these checks that we sign every Thursday, and there's some interesting things that have been going on for years and years and years, and there'll be more on that later, but thankful and thanking you for your watchful eye.
Sure. No problem.
Anything else? No.
You said pay this lawsuit. Who is the complainant and who are all of the,
Chase is the complaint.
Chase is the complainant?
Mm-hmm.
Who
Who are the defendants? Paytas Homes and Spruce Creek, POA.
Nobody else?
Thank you, Randy. We have the sign-up sheet. We'll go ahead and go through that right now. Ellen, you wanted to speak?
Yes. If I may.
Sure thing. Don't pay him any mind.
I won't. Okay. Well, if anybody here doesn't know who I am, I'm Ellen Tansey, and I live in Spruce Creek. I've been here since 2001, and presently I'm the president of the Spruce Creek Golf and Country Club. So I thank you, the board, for the opportunity to speak, and I thank everybody here for the opportunity to have you listen. I have a letter for Secretary Murray, who isn't here tonight, but it's to be delivered to Paul, President Brevard, so I'll just give it to you directly. I wanted to formally request from the POA board that the club be excluded from the HUD 1600 cap change. Reason that we're requesting that exclusion is because we feel the club will lose any flexibility that it has now to improve for the benefit of the members and the benefit of the community. I feel that the vote went through very easily because there's been a lot of fear in the community from false rumors that we are planning on selling half of the golf course and putting condominiums up. And I've told President Brevard, and I've told our club members, and I've told every single person that will listen that there is no intention of doing that ever. So that there's nothing to fear from the club getting rid of property and building condominiums or doing anything of the sort. I'd like everybody to know that. Let's see. I guess really that's pretty much all. I wanted to formally request, I wanted to call or President Brevard to have my letter, and I wanted to say that the resolution will have far-reaching, seriously deleterious effect on the club and on all property owners in the Spruce Creek Fly-In. The club must have the flexibility to adjust to the changing needs of its members and the community, and the cap removes all of that flexibility. So, Paul, if you don't mind, I'll just give you that.
Stand by. Thank you, Ellen. And for the purposes of this meeting and any other meetings that you and I have moving forward, which I entirely support, simply calling me Paul is fine.
Thank you.
Does the board have any questions?
Well, I think we all do.
You got one right in front of you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, look, it is on. Okay. You just said that you had no intention of doing any of the development and whatnot. So why are you so worried about not being part of this change in the PUD
Well,
if you're not going to develop?
what if we wanted to rebuild the clubhouse or the tennis pro shop or expand the tennis courts or even rebuild the clubhouse and add housing for seniors onto it because a lot of our members eat in the club every night?
But this initiative doesn't stop any of that. You can do that. You can do anything you want as long as you have a 51% support of the community, which we've shown is easy to get. If you've got a good idea, you can move forward. It just has to be something that 51% of the community buys into. It doesn't stop anything.
Okay.
It doesn't, and that wasn't the intention of it. But there's going to be community buy-in to any development or changes. If we want a new POA building, there's going to be a 51% vote or whatever.
Okay.
Well, and I think the key here is rezoning, frankly, because whatever the POA owns, whatever Spruce Creek is made up of, it is zoned a particular way. And in order to change the zoning, in order to accomplish more development, you have to go through a rezoning process. As Mike indicated, you can still do that. The cap says that, and the reason why the cap is at 1884 right now is because when they applied for the PUD in Spruce Creek, they wanted to ensure that they could have enough homes built to stay within that cap. So there's a certain amount overage that they included to ensure that when they looked at the utility easements and the roads and the drainage and all of the issues that they have to look at, the impact on the surrounding neighborhoods and the roads and ingress and egress through this area, they have to have some idea how big the PUD is intended to be. The 1884 was set at that particular time. Anything less than 1884 as a rezoning for a residential lot or a commercial lot, a hangar lot, is considered a minor change to the PUD. And typically in the past, it's been handled very easily by just applying to the county for a rezoning change. The only difference we're making right now is that this association, all of these people out here, will end up having a say in whether or not it moves forward. That is the beginning of it, and that is the end of it. Is it more of a burden? Well, sure it is. But it ensures that whatever development is done in Spruce Creek is done with the understanding and the acceptance of the association as a whole, not of a sympathetic ear on the board, not just at the whim of the country club who decides that they're going to do whatever they wish to do in order to sustain their existence. It is not lost on me that this club, this golf course, this entity is an essential part of this association. It truly is. As I mentioned in the town hall meeting, the very best outcome from this resolution is that nothing changes in Spruce Creek. If you need to make a change, if you have an idea, bring it forward. We'll do whatever we can, but just rest assured, in the final analysis and the final say, the residents will have some input here. Anyone else? Yes, Fred.
My apologies, I didn't ask to speak, but this discussion prompted a couple of questions, if I might ask.
Very well.
For clarification,
Thank you very much. Just for clarification, the 1587, or which is the current, or 97, whichever, it'll be capped at 1,600, and that includes, does it not, a number of lots that exist that are unbuilt on, right?
That's correct.
Right. And just in the country club's case, country club pays assessments on 25 lots. Are those 25 lots in the unbuilt lot contingent or not?
The 25 lots was set up by Thompson Properties as an exchange for selling the country club to a number of members of this association. Originally, it was designed to move forward into the POA and be integrated into the POA.
Yeah, but that's never
since,
happened.
since it got sold off, Thompson Properties made the assumption that they were going to have to pay a certain amount to the POA for their use of, and the common use of common ground and common properties here. They assigned 25 lots as the value. Now, if you think about that, it's not 25 lots that can be rezoned. It's 25 lots in its entirety encompassing the zoning that exists there now and existed then when Thompson Properties had it.
Well, this is fairly late in the game, but were I Ellen, I would have made the request that since the country club does in fact pay on those 25 lots, and there is more than enough space potentially for those lots to be built on within the existing without touching any of the golf course or other things, I would think those 25 should be within the buildable allowance. That isn't the request they made. I'm just asking for some clarification as to whether or not that was included. I see Mike Kelly already shaking his head no, but Okay.
They're not specific lots, they're not.
I'm only making the point that the Country Club has paid from its beginning for 25 lots every year annually. Those 25 lots are considered part of the assessments of the POA, and I think they should have equal standing with other lots that are currently unbuilt on, which is a far more limited potential impact than, what I think worries most people, even though I don't think the worry is accurate, but worries most people, which is substantial building on all of the green space, which the Country Club basically sits on as part of the original PUD, all of which made a lot more sense before they split it apart, I well understand. So in any event, that's the question I wanted to get an answer to, and I appreciate it.
Very good.
The actual value of the 25 came as a financial contribution to pay the combined expenses of the POA, the roads, the infrastructure and such. I understand, that's the only justification for the 25. Many hours have been spent figuring it out.
It's interesting to note that if you look at the combined footprint of Wedgwood, you'll find there are 65 homes in there, 67 homes, somewhere in there. If you were to lay Wedgwood out on the golf course, you'd find yourself taking up maybe 2 fairways in its entirety. So if you think about that, 25 assessment seems like kind of a bargain. Maybe back then it wasn't considered a bargain, but Dennis is exactly right. The country club and the golf course is part of this association. It has to pay a certain assessment, just like we all do for our residential lots and our commercial lots. It's just the way it is. It's not that the 25 it's written in as being somewhere on the golf course or somewhere at the clubhouse. It is just a financial number. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Very good.
Thank you, President Paul.
She insists. Alan Whitkin?
I was waiting to see what the discussion was. I'll pass it this time.
Very good. And Melvin?
I'll wait till we come to the second.
Okay, very good. Under unfinished business, Diane has a update for us on, yet again, underground drainage pipe joint leak sealing.
We've been working and started last year on the 5th drainage project from King Air Court to Eagle Lake. We're still working on it. The days that the guys get up here, we have things like tornado warnings and they can't get in the pipes. Today they had a minor incident. They said minor. The sandbags that they stack in the pipes to prevent the water from Eagle Lake coming back into the pipe, it collapsed while the workman was in the pipes. So you will see some ruts between my no parking signs, but that was getting the giant vacuum truck in place to suck water out of there so Ricky wouldn't drown. The work that was completed on that area, the 5th drainage project, last year was $44,575. And they will hopefully finish it within the next week and a half. They have about maybe a quarter of that section to finish before it's completed. And Public Work the committee is working on the next areas to send in for the proposals to get done this year.
Anyone have any questions?
How serious was this guy getting buried?
What was water? The water came rushing in, and luckily he had just gotten in the pipe, so he wasn't very far from the inlet.
This morning we had a number of folks meet at the south gate to talk about the gate modification that has been kind of working behind the scenes a little bit before we make a decision about moving forward. Diane, you want to fill us in?
We've had a civil engineer working on the area at South Gate to open up another lane in an effort to free up the RFID lane from the construction crews that are coming in. The first proposal that came in for that project was $144,481. The last one that just came in last Friday, same project, is for $26,770. Now, we do have a manhole cover that's buried under some landscaping out beyond the south gate that we do not know exactly what that manhole cover is for, and we will not know until it is open and inspected. That could add an additional expense to this project. So what I propose tonight is to ask the board for $50,000 for that project up to that. And once we get in that manhole cover, then we can figure out where it goes and if it is strong enough to support traffic going over the top of it without having to be reinforced. Have we discussed this before?
Before we, yes, Mel.
Question, this has been examined for a number of years, but there are some different ways to alleviate traffic flow. Is the suggestion that we add a third lane and make one of the lanes to the right the RFID lane?
Really, we'll talk about widening the gate access at where the gates close. Just take out a piece of about a 10-foot section of where the gates now close.
So you make it 2 lanes.
So make it 2 lanes
yes.
through the gate. It has nothing to do, nothing changes from the gate inbound.
Okay.
It's the outbound portion.
Okay.
So you can actually get 2 cars through there. Right now, even though you have 2 different entrances, you only have access for 1 car at a time. Just accessibility.
Okay. I understand. But what are you gaining but 1 or 2 more cars because then the road is plugging up?
Go ahead, Diane. You know, you've seen it.
Yes, by taking out that portion of the gate there to widen another lane, the sidewalk will be modified. The street stop, the white stop bar will be moved back about 15 feet. So the traffic, the incoming traffic off of Airport Road on that little parallel extension will have to stop further back in order for the RFID lane to be left open. And it will take some educating our contractors. that is quite a task to make sure that that RFID lane is left open for the residents to have access to it.
So the presumption is that off of that little feeder lane that runs along the fence, that you're able to turn into the RFID lane both from that lane and from the expanded lane that goes back.
Yes, that's correct.
That's right.
Having walked that this morning, I it may not sound like me, but I'm a little concerned about the overall look of the gate. The sign is going to be chopped off at, what is it, maybe 8 feet?
It's about,
It's not the sign per se, it is the column
Wall.
and the
it's
wrought
the
iron.
railing, the
Yeah,
black railing.
the wrought iron railing.
The monument will be cut at, the cut will be made at the monument with a sawzall and a sledgehammer, and it can be easily done.
Why am I not getting a good feeling about this?
Oh, I am.
Oh, I am.
No, it's good. I mean, we were all there.
Yeah. How does that happen?
But, well, how do you feel?
I like it. I like it.
It does back up there badly. What it does is give, hopefully, the residents access to the RFID line. And the contractors hopefully will stay in the left lane. If they don't.
That can be banned.
No, we'll address that. But, you know, you can beat to death all these problems that never happen. I say we got to, because there's no way of fixing it the way it is.
It's still gonna be congestion.
Sure.
Still gonna be congestion. If people come in that direction, make the turn. If the contractors come that way,
Use your
they're gonna block
mouth.
it.
I think 2 lanes, people get in the habit pretty quickly. I think it's a good thing. I would urge it.
Yeah, from being out there this morning, I have not seen this myself because I'm located up more towards the front gate. But Diane told me, and a couple of people out there told me, they've seen the cars backed up on the parallel road all the way out to airport from there.
Yes.
And, you know, contractors and then residents and contractors and residents. This way, you'll have a way to get in and around the contractors' trucks to get in.
The contractor's prohibited from using that.
It's an RFID lane. It's going to be labeled RFID.
The lane that comes down by the wall off the street.
I don't think you can stop anybody from coming a certain way, you know, but the idea is that even if, you know, that thing's wide enough to be 2 lanes anyway, that road. I mean, if you can get, the idea is to get around the contractor somehow. Right now, even if you drove around a contractor truck who's waiting in line, there's no way to get through the gate. No way, because it's only 1 car width wide. So this will make it 2 car widths wide. So when you get up there, you can get right in the RFID lane and go. Because right now...
Well, what am I missing here, though? Because all of the lanes, the incoming lanes on the street are single. And so you can't remove the truck.
What happens when, have you driven in there?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
It gets jammed up, you know, where it gets narrow. It gets jammed up where it gets narrow, and if we have 2 lanes, you should be able to get right to the RFID lane if you're a resident or you have an RFID. And I think once the roadway's in and it's wide like that, if we have certain issues, we'll mark the lanes or whatever, we can work on it. You know, it's a be work in private. Thanks, great.
Yeah, Jack.
I agree with you to this extent. Project sounds like a great idea, but it sounds like we need a RFID entrance only on one of the feeder lanes. So I think that's what they're not understanding your concern. Aren't you saying that no matter what, you still have 1 lane coming in from Airport Road from the right side or the left side? If we had one of those lanes designated RFID only, that'll eliminate your concern, right?
I agree with what he said. However, that's a future thing. Right now, with the entrance only being 1 wide, doesn't make a difference. And we don't have control over it. You can't control where people come in.
We also do not have control over a buried manhole and the guide wires for the power pole that's right outside the gate. We still don't have any knowledge about that. I think...
Well, that will go before the county, and the county, once we apply for the permit, will let us know